Okay, today we're going to read the book. My name is Gabriela, and look at the cover. You see everything that makes up this author that wrote this book. It's the life of Gabriela Mistral, and she became an author and a writer from Brazil. And I want you to think about how would you describe yourself? My name is Gabriela. This is the title page, and this is the publication page. My name is Gabriela. It is a name I chose myself because I like the sound of it. I love words and sounds and stories. And here we have another picture of her with monkeys and butterflies. And notice that the banner at the top, Gabriela Mistral. And I kind of want you to be thinking about how would you do your name and what makes up your life. When I was a little girl, I lived with my mother and Emanuela, my sister, in a small house in the beautiful valley of Chile. From my bedroom window, I could see the Andes Mountains. When I couldn't sleep, I would look up at the mountains and wonder who could be beyond them. What could be beyond them? Zebras with polka dots, rainbow-colored flowers, angels reading books. And then here she has pictures of all of that she would dream about. And here we have it in Spanish at the bottom. I loved words. I loved the sounds they made off my tongue, and I liked the way that they express how I felt. When I was a butterfly fluttering, I noticed the way words were fluttering. Butterfly sounded together like a poem. Here's a second page. I taught myself to read so that I could read other people's words and stories. I read stories about princes and princesses, about witches and monsters, about birds and flowers. And here we have a picture of her with birds and flowers and castles. I also tried to write poems, sing songs, and tell stories about the words that I knew. I told stories about happy times and sad times, about mothers and babies and little children. And here's the illustrations in this book are just beautiful. I like to play school with the children in my village. I pretended to be the teacher, and my friends Sophia, Anna, and Pedro were my pupils. Pedro would always say that I was mean because I made him write his ABCs until he knew all the letters of the alphabet. But I told him that the alphabet is important. How else would he create words and tell his stories without it? As many of you have babysat and worked with siblings and cousins and neighbors this summer, have you played school? Have you made them do things? In our pretend class, we would sing songs like the baby chicks are saying, peek, peek, peek. It sounds like they're cold and hungry. It means they need some sleep. That was Sophia's favorite song. During recess, we had fun running and chasing and laughing and playing. And here she is in her schoolyard. When I became a grown-up, a teacher and writer, I taught the children of Chile, and many of my students became teachers themselves. I still wrote poems, happy poems, sad poems, stories of mothers and children, but I also wrote poems about animals, about parrots and peacocks, and even rats. So here's her classroom, and you see many of this on the outside cover of her classroom and all the things around the world. I also traveled to faraway places. I never saw zebras with polka dots or rainbow-colored flowers, but I met wonderful children and their teachers. I traveled to Europe, to France, and Italy. Here she is traveling. I traveled to Mexico. I traveled to the United States. Everywhere I went, I wrote and taught and met teachers. I saw how all over the world people wanted their children to learn, just like we want to learn this year in school. My stories traveled the world with me. People like to read my happy stories, my sad stories, my stories of women and children, my stories of parrots and peacocks, of old lions and of the fisher folk who slept in the sand and dreamt of the sea. What do you like to write about? What's some of your hobbies? What do you think about in your time of downtime? And because people from all over the world love my stories too, I was given a very special prize, the Nobel Peace Prize for Literature. When I accepted the grand award, I thought of the beautiful mountains outside my window in Chile, of my mother and sisters, of the children in my village, and of all the stories that still need to be told. And so here's what I was reading. And then it tells the actual story of her life. But I want you to either write, do a PowerPoint on your computers, and we'll talk about making PowerPoints, or just take a piece of paper, because you are going to have a notebook. You're going to have both a folder that you keep your writings in, and you're also going to have a notebook that you can put one-pagers and things like that in before you scan it, or just take snapshots to do your assignments. But what do you want on the cover of your notebook? What describes you? That will be your assignment for the coming week, is to do a very well written PowerPoint and illustration for the cover of your notebook. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.